Kansas is full of good men. I don't want to be a good man. I want to be a great one.
You're gonna need this!
I don't want to die! I haven't accomplished anything yet! Please! Am I dreaming?
I'm sure you're all wondering where I have been. It's good to be back, guys. I haven't seen a movie in a while. It has not been my choice to be that way, but I've been busy, and then the times I planned to see a movie, it hasn't been able to work out. But it is me. I am back. I'm back from my long hiatus, and it feels good to be back. Unfortunately, I wish I came back to see a better movie, because today I saw Oz the Great and Powerful, and I know it came out last weekend, but I don't care. I wanted to review it for you guys. And as you can tell, I'm just going to cut to the chase, because I haven't reviewed a movie in a while, and I want to just get right into it. So Oz the Great and Powerful is a prequel to the classic Wizard of Oz, and it stars James Franco as Oscar Diggs, or Oz, from the first original movie, and it basically shows how he went from being like a circus magician to the Great Wizard of Oz that you see in the movie, and his journey, and then he meets up with these three witches, and he gets transported from Kansas to Oz through this magical tornado thing. It's not really explained, and it's just basically how they want him to be this great wizard that they've heard from the prophecy, but he's really just this con artist schmuck. And it's basically how he goes from being a douche to the Wizard of Oz. I didn't really have any expectations for this movie. I didn't think it was going to be that good. I was interested in the choice that Sam Raimi was going to be directing, because that was a very that's like the last person I would expect to direct a movie like this. But I didn't really have a lot of faith in it, and unfortunately this movie is just really lame. The reason why, well, I would say the main reason why this movie really doesn't work is because the acting by almost everyone is pretty piss poor. I did not like James Franco as Oz. When I first heard that he was going to be cast as Oz, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, James Franco, the stoner comedy guy, as the Wizard of Oz? I don't know, and that definitely came through when watching this movie, and I can't really fully blame him. One, he's surrounded by CGI creatures and backgrounds, so I'm sure he was just acting by himself with most of the time, and so I can understand that that's very difficult to do when you don't have anyone to play off of. And the script of this movie, he's not given very good dialogue to say, so a lot of these lines that he's delivering are hard to deliver anyway from even a good, really good actor, so I can't entirely blame him. But his reaction shots are really bad. It seemed like he was trying way too hard, and it was failing pretty bad, and he has no chemistry with really any of the three main witches. Mila Kunis, who I adore, she's not good in this movie. Again, same thing with her. She just doesn't have she doesn't really have anything to do besides whine, and then later on in the movie something happens, and then she's kind of even more laughable. Rachel Weisz, I also adore. This movie is, the best thing about this movie is just looking at all the actresses in it. She's probably the second best, I would say, out of all the witches. She's fine. Again, not given much to do, but she's fine for what she's given. I would say the best is Michelle Williams. She's definitely given the most to do. She definitely has the most backstory, but even though she seems to be trying, just everything around her, it wasn't enough. I'm sorry, she tried, but you could definitely tell, but unfortunately the movie around her just wasn't good enough. The best performance and the best thing about this movie though is by far Zach Braff as James Franco's companion, the monkey. And if you notice this, that James Franco always seems to be upstaged by apes or monkeys, because in Rise of the Planet of the Apes he was upstaged by Caesar, and in this movie he's upstaged by this little monkey played by Zach Braff. I thought the monkey had some really funny lines. I thought that Zach Braff brought a lot of energy to the monkey, and the monkey was the only thing that was really keeping me through this movie. And there's in the middle of the movie they kind of forget about him for a long time, and I was just like, oh, you took the one bearable thing out of this movie. This movie had an insane budget. You can tell the lands are all CG, the characters, there's fully CG characters that look great. There's like this China girl character who I wasn't, a big fan of, but the CG on her was amazing. But then, especially for the first 20 minutes when he actually gets to Oz, I just noticed that it looked very green screen. You could tell that he wasn't walking in a real world. You could tell that the backgrounds were fake. And even throughout the movie, it definitely got better. I felt more immersed. But there was even times where I noticed that actors' faces were messed up, or just even the background, the CGI I felt wasn't as good as it should have been, and it took me out of the movie. And it didn't help that Sam Raimi was doing these weird zooms and zoom outs and weird camera angles that he was doing, and you could tell that it was directed by him later on. But that's what I was kind of worried about, is that Sam Raimi's horror type, B-movie type of shooting would not fit well, and there's a couple of scenes where it really didn't. And this movie is a little over 2 hours. I think it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. This movie drags. I mean, from the minute it starts, I was into it. The first 15 minutes, it's in black and white, and once it gets to Oz, it's full screen and in color. And I was into it. I liked the black and white feel of it. I was expecting a good time, judging from, how they were taking it and doing a big homage to the original. But it just the story's not that interesting. The characters, like I said, are not interesting. The acting's not good. So there's nothing to carry you along this really long story and journey, and it just feels long. And I hate doing this, but there's times where I actually had to pull out my phone to check the time, or go on the internet for a couple of seconds, and I'm usually the biggest opponent of that. I hate that. I hate when people do it. I only did it because there was no one sitting near me, but there was times where I was like, this is getting really unbearable. Had any pros with the movie besides the monkey, is I will say that near the climax they do some fun stuff, and they do some exciting things, and the way that they tie in Oz within this movie to the original, I actually thought was very clever, and I thought that was pretty well thought out. But besides that, I just felt this movie was really cheesy, very hammy. The acting was really just subpar. Obviously they're going to make a sequel because it's making a buttload of money, but I really can't say that I'm looking forward to the next few. I would just say stick to watching the original, because that's a classic. Nothing will ever top that. And yeah, but at least it was nice to be in the theater again, but this movie, no. So I'm going to give this, I'm going to be generous and give it 2 stars out of 5. There's times where I was really floating on 1.5, but yeah, not good at all. However, it is good to be back. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I'm sure some of you were concerned, or maybe many of you didn't even notice. But either way, it's glad to be back. I'm going to try to maybe even do a double feature this weekend just to get back into the swing of things. So if you like this review, please subscribe, and trust me, I'll be back on a regular basis for reviews. So I'll see you guys later.
Take 5. I might not actually be a wizard.
Yes, but they don't know that. You're capable of more than you know. Help, please! Are you the great man we've been waiting for?
I think I could be.